I stood there, holding a tray of champagne glasses, while my future mother-in-law pointed a manicured finger in my face. Her voice was loud enough for half the guests to hear. She sneered, "This is exactly where you belong, Liam. Serving the people who actually matter. Just make sure you don't drop anything. We can't have the help ruining my son's big day with their clumsiness." She grabbed a glass, drank it in one gulp, and shoved the empty flute back into my chest. "Now, go fetch the manager. I want to complain about the floral arrangements." I looked her dead in the eye, smiled, and calmly set the tray down on the nearest table. "Actually, Beatrice," I said, my voice cutting through the chatter, "I don't need to fetch the manager. And you don't need to complain about the flowers. Because as of this moment, this wedding is over." She laughed, thinking I was joking. She didn't realize that the building we were standing in, the ground she was walking on, and the security guard she was about to scream at, belonged to me. To understand how we got to that moment, the moment I kicked my own brother-in-law out of his dream wedding, you have to understand who I am, and more importantly, who Beatrice thinks I am. My name is Liam. To the outside world, or at least to the people who judge books by their covers, I'm a guy who likes to wear worn-out denim, drive a beat-up 2005 Ford truck, and always has a little bit of dirt under his fingernails. I love working with my hands. I love landscaping, carpentry, and restoration. What I don't advertise is that I own the Gilded Oak. In our state, the Gilded Oak is the premier event venue. We're talking about a sprawling, 50-acre estate with a restored 19th-century mansion, botanical gardens, and a glass-walled reception hall that overlooks a private lake. It's the kind of place celebrities book under fake names. I bought the land when it was a swamp 10 years ago, designed the architecture myself, and built the business from the ground up. But I don't wear suits. I don't drive a Porsche. And when I'm on the property, I'm usually pruning the roses or fixing a trellis alongside my ground crew. I like my privacy. This is where my girlfriend, Maya, comes in. Maya is amazing. She's a nurse, kind-hearted, and the complete opposite of her family. She knows about my success, obviously, but she respects that I hate flashing money around. We've been dating for 2 years, and for the most part, we kept our lives separate from her family. Her family is complicated. Or rather, they are simple. Simply awful. There's Beatrice, the matriarch. She's a woman who believes that net worth is directly correlated to human worth. She's been living off her alimony payments for 20 years, acting like she's royalty while drowning in credit card debt to keep up appearances. Then there's Chad, Maya's older brother. Chad is 35, works a mid-level sales job that his father got him, and acts like he's on the cover of Forbes magazine. He's the golden child. In Beatrice's eyes, Chad can do no wrong. When I first met them, I made a mistake. I came straight from the venue. I was wearing work boots covered in mud and a t-shirt stained with wood stain. Beatrice took one look at me, wrinkled her nose as if she smelled rotting garbage, and asked, "Oh, so you're the gardener Maya told us about?" I didn't correct her. I just said, "I work in landscaping and property management." Technically, it wasn't a lie. I manage my own property. But Beatrice heard minimum wage laborer. From that day forward, I was nothing to her. I was the help. I was the loser dragging her daughter down. The tension started to boil over about 6 months ago. Chad got engaged to a woman named Jessica. Jessica is basically a younger clone of Beatrice, obsessed with status, Instagram likes, and looking better than everyone else. Naturally, they wanted a wedding that would make everyone jealous. They wanted the Gilded Oak. The problem? The Gilded Oak has a 2-year waiting list and a base package starting at $50,000. Chad and Beatrice didn't have the time, and they certainly didn't have the money. I remember the dinner where it all started. We were at a chain restaurant because Beatrice forgot her wallet again, so Maya was paying. "It's just impossible," Jessica whined, poking at her salad. I called them, and they said they're booked until 2027. And the deposit? It's robbery. Beatrice slammed her hand on the table. It's discrimination, that's what it is. They should know who we are. Chad is a vice president of sales. We shouldn't have to wait in line like commoners. Chad wasn't a VP, he was a regional associate, but nobody corrected her. Then, Beatrice turned her hawk-like gaze on me. I was quietly eating my burger, trying to be invisible. Liam, she snapped. You said you work in landscaping, right? That's right, I said. Well, don't you do work for big properties? Do you know anyone at the Gilded Oak? Maybe you trim the hedges there or unclog the toilets. Maya stiffened beside me. Mom, don't be rude. I'm not being rude, I'm being practical. Beatrice huffed. Well, Liam? Do you scrub the floors there or not? I took a sip of water, hiding a smile. Actually, I do have some connections there. I'm on the property quite a bit. Beatrice rolled her eyes. Great. Well, make yourself useful for once. Talk to the manager. Tell them you're related, unfortunately, to a very prominent family who wants to book a wedding for next month. See if you can get us the friends and family discount. Or at least the staff discount. She laughed at her own joke. Although, I doubt a gardener's discount is worth much. But beg. It's what people like you are good at. Maya was about to explode, but I put a hand on her knee under the table. I had an idea. A petty, wonderful idea. I can ask, I said calmly. But they are very exclusive. They usually require a full background check and a strict code of conduct contract. Just do it, Chad said, not even looking up from his phone. And make sure they know I need the premium liquor package thrown in for free. I'm not paying for top shelf. The next day, I went to my office at the venue. My general manager, Sarah, walked in. Sarah has been with me since the start. She's the only one besides Maya who knows the full extent of the nonsense I deal with. Let me guess, Sarah said, seeing the look on my face. The in-laws? The in-laws, I confirmed. Sarah, I want you to draw up a contract for Chad and Jessica. Open up the date 3 weeks from now. The cancellation we had. The Miller date? Sarah raised an eyebrow. That's a Saturday night in June. We could sell that for 80 grand by noon today. I know. Give it to Chad. Sarah looked at me like I was insane. For full price? No, I said, leaning back in my chair. Give them the staff family discount. 90% off. Charge them basically cost. But I want the code of conduct clause highlighted in bold. The one that says any abuse of staff, property damage, or failure to follow venue rules results in immediate termination of the event and expulsion from the premises. Sarah smirked. She knew exactly where this was going. You think they'll break the rules? I think Beatrice can't go 2 hours without insulting a waiter. Let's see if she can last a whole wedding. When I brought the contract to Beatrice and Chad, I thought they might actually thank me. I handed the folder to Chad at his apartment. I pulled every string I have, I said. The owner owed me a favor. It's 90% off. You're paying $5,000 for a $50,000 wedding. Chad snatched the folder. He didn't say thank you. He flipped through it, frowning. Why is the deposit non-refundable? That's standard, I said. Beatrice looked over his shoulder. 5,000? Still seems steep for just a rental. But I suppose it will do. Good work, Liam. I didn't think you had it in you to actually negotiate with intelligent people. There is one catch, I warned them. The venue is extremely strict about how staff is treated. Because I got you this deal based on my reputation as a worker, you have to be respectful. If you scream at the staff, if you break anything, the owner has a zero-tolerance policy. He will shut it down. Beatrice waved her hand dismissively. Oh, please. We know how to behave. We're not animals. We're just demanding excellence. If the staff does their job, we won't have to correct them. I looked at Maya. She looked worried. She knew her mother was a ticking time bomb. The weeks leading up to the wedding were a nightmare. Because I was the connection, Beatrice treated me like her personal wedding planner. She called me at 6 a.m. "Liam, call your boss. Tell him the napkins need to be eggshell, not ivory. The sample they sent is trash. Liam, go down to the venue and measure the aisle. Jessica thinks it looks narrow in the photos. If it's not 6 feet wide, tell them to move the walls. Liam, tell the chef that Chad hates cilantro. If I see a speck of green, I'm getting someone fired." I relayed none of these messages. I just told Sarah to keep everything standard. I was the buffer, absorbing the abuse so my staff didn't have to. But the real kicker came 3 days before the wedding. The rehearsal dinner. We were at a local Italian place. Beatrice was on her 4th glass of wine and feeling particularly vicious. She tapped her glass for a toast. To Chad and Jessica, she slurred. A beautiful couple. A successful couple. Unlike some people at this table. She stared directly at me. "I just want to say," she continued, "that it's so nice to see my son marrying someone with class. Someone who understands that you have to be elite to survive in this world. Maya, darling, we all love you, but we're all praying you wake up one day and find a man who can actually provide for you." A landscaper? Really? It's embarrassing to introduce him to our friends. The whole table went silent. Maya stood up, her face red. "Mom, stop it. I'm just saying." Beatrice threw her hands up. "The wedding on Saturday is going to be magnificent, no thanks to him. Sure, he got us the booking, but I bet he's just the janitor's assistant. I bet they gave it to us just to stop him from begging." She looked at me with a sneer. "Liam, on Saturday, try not to look so poor. Stay in the back. Don't get in the official photos. We don't want people asking who the homeless man is." I clenched my jaw so hard I thought a tooth might crack. I wanted to tell her right then. I wanted to throw the deed to the estate on the table. But I waited. I needed the contract signed. I needed them to walk into the trap. "I'll do my best, Beatrice," I said. "I'll try to blend in with the staff." "You do that," she said. "Maybe you can help serve drinks. Make yourself useful." The wedding day arrived. It was a perfect June afternoon. The sun was shining, the roses were in full bloom, thanks to me, and the Gilded Oak looked spectacular. I arrived early, dressed in a tuxedo. A real one. Tom Ford. I thought, if this is the day I reveal myself, I'm going to look the part. But as soon as I walked into the bridal suite holding area to check on Maya, Beatrice spotted me. "What do you think you're wearing?" she shrieked. "It's a tuxedo, Beatrice. For the wedding." "You look ridiculous," she laughed. "It looks like a costume. You look like a waiter." "Actually, that's perfect." She grabbed a silver tray from a passing server, one of my employees, a sweet girl named Emily. Beatrice shoved the tray into my hands. One of the servers called in sick. Beatrice lied. "We need champagne passed around the foyer before the ceremony." "Do it." "Beatrice, I'm a guest. I'm Maya's boyfriend." "You are a guest when I say you're a guest," she hissed. "Right now, you are a distinct embarrassment. If you want to stay, you work. Otherwise, get out." She turned to Emily, my employee. "And you. Fix your hair. You look like you just rolled out of bed. If I see a single hair out of place, I'll have your job. Do you hear me?" Emily looked on the verge of tears. She looked at me, confused, knowing I was the owner. I gave her a subtle nod. "It's okay. Let her dig her grave." I took the tray. For the next hour, I walked around my own property, serving cheap champagne to Beatrice's snobby friends. I listened to them gossip. "Can you believe Chad got this place? I heard the owner is some eccentric billionaire. I heard Beatrice bullied them into a discount. Then, the chaos started. I was near the kitchen entrance when I heard screaming. It was Chad. He was in the hallway, red-faced, screaming at my head of catering, a man named Marco who has a Michelin-star. I said the steak needed to be medium rare. Chad was yelling, poking Marco in the chest. This is medium. It's garbage. Take it back. I'm not paying for this swill. Marco was calm. Sir, this is the test plate. We cook it to your preference. Don't talk back to me. Chad grabbed the plate and threw it. It smashed against the wall, sauce splattering everywhere. Clean it up. And get me a fresh drink, you incompetent idiot. That was strike one. Physical aggression and property damage. I moved closer, setting my tray down. 10 minutes later, I found Beatrice in the garden room. She was supposed to be getting ready for the procession. Instead, she was terrorizing the floral team. These are hydrangeas, she screamed at the head florist. I asked for peonies. Ma'am, peonies are out of season. We discussed this in the consultation. You signed off on white hydrangeas. I don't care what I signed. Beatrice grabbed a vase of the expensive arrangement and shoved it off the pedestal. It shattered on the marble floor. Water and glass went everywhere. It looks cheap. Like something that landscaping loser Liam would grow. Fix it. Go out and buy peonies right now or I will sue this entire venue into the ground. Strike 2. Destruction of property. I checked my watch. The ceremony was supposed to start in 10 minutes. The guests were seated. The music was playing. I walked into the main hall. I signaled for Sarah. She came over, looking furious. They threw a plate at Marco, she whispered. And the mother just broke a $1,000 vase. Liam, the staff is threatening to walk out. Let them walk, I said. Pull the security team to the front. Lock the kitchen. Cut the music. Are we doing this? Sarah asked, a gleam in her eye. We are doing this. I walked to the front of the aisle. The guests quieted down, thinking the ceremony was starting. Beatrice came rushing out from the side entrance, looking frantic. She saw me standing at the altar. She stormed up the aisle, her heels clicking aggressively. What the hell do you think you're doing? She hissed, loud enough for the first 5 rows to hear. Get down from there. The groom stands there. Are you drunk? Did you drink the champagne you were supposed to be serving? She turned to the crowd, putting on a fake smile. So sorry everyone, the help is a little confused today. She turned back to me, her face twisting into a demon mask. I told you to stay out of sight. You are ruining my son's day. Get out. Get out right now before I have security throw you into the street. I didn't move. I reached into my jacket pocket and pulled out a wireless microphone. I switched it on. The feedback squeal made everyone jump. Beatrice, I said, my voice booming through the high-end sound system. I don't think security is going to do that. Excuse me? She looked baffled. Chad came running up the aisle now, looking sweaty and angry. Liam! Chad yelled. Get off the stage. You're embarrassing us. Actually, I said, addressing the entire room of 150 guests. I think there's been a misunderstanding about who is embarrassing whom. I looked at Beatrice. You've spent the last 6 months telling me I'm worthless. You've mocked my job, my clothes, and my family. You told me I belong in the back, serving the important people. This is not the time for your pity party. Beatrice shrieked. Where is the manager? I want this man arrested. I am the manager, I said. Silence. Absolute silence. Beatrice blinked. What? I am the manager, I repeated. And the owner. And the architect. And the head groundskeeper. I gestured to the glass walls, the high beams, the custom flooring. I built the Gilded Oak, Beatrice. I didn't get you a discount because I know a guy. I gave you a discount because I loved your daughter and I wanted to do something nice for her family. I absorbed the cost. Me. The gardener. Beatrice's face went pale. Chad looked like he was going to be sick. But, I continued, my voice hardening. We have a contract. A contract that you signed, Chad. Clause 4, Section B, any abuse of staff, verbal or physical, results in immediate cancellation of the event. I pointed to the back of the room where Marco was standing with his arms crossed. Chad, you threw a plate at my head chef. I pointed to the side door where the florist was standing. Beatrice, you smashed a vase and threatened my floral team. And just now, I said, looking her in the eye, you insulted the owner in front of his entire client list. I took a step closer to her. She actually took a step back. This wedding is over, I announced. The kitchen is closed. The bar is closed. You have exactly 30 minutes to clear your personal belongings out of the bridal suites and vacate the premises. If you are not off my property in 30 minutes, the police will be called for trespassing. Pandemonium. You can't do this. Beatrice screamed, grabbing my lapel. We have guests. We have presents. You can't cancel a wedding. Watch me, I said. I signaled to the back. For large security guards, men I hire specifically because they look like boulders in suits, stepped forward. They didn't move toward me. They moved toward Beatrice and Chad. Please escort Mr. Miller and his mother to the parking lot, I said to the head of security. You're joking, Chad stammered. Liam, come on. It's a joke, right? Look, man, we were just stressed. You know how it is. We can work this out. We can't, I said. The friends and family discount is revoked. And since the contract is voided due to your breach of conduct, you owe the full venue fee for the time used today. My assistant will mail you the invoice for the $50,000, plus damages for the vase and the cleaning fees for the steak sauce. 50,000? Beatrice screeched. She looked like she was having a heart attack. I don't have $50,000. Then I suggest you start selling some of that jewelry you like to brag about, I said coldly. I turned to the guests. I apologize to everyone who traveled here. Please feel free to make your way to the exit. The gates will be locking in 45 minutes. I dropped the microphone. I didn't stick around to watch them get dragged out, but Sarah told me it was beautiful. Beatrice was sobbing, threatening to sue the governor, the president, and the Pope. Chad was trying to fight a security guard and ended up face down in the gravel in his rented tuxedo. Jessica, the bride? She didn't even argue. She took one look at Chad crying in the dirt, took off her veil, threw it at him, and called an Uber. She left them there. Apparently, marrying a VP who gets kicked out of his own wedding by the gardener wasn't part of her vision board. The fallout was swift. Maya broke ties with them that day. She stood by me the whole time. She was actually relieved. She told me later that seeing her mother finally face consequences was the most satisfying moment of her life. They tried to sue me, of course. They found a shady lawyer who sent a threatening letter claiming emotional distress and breach of contract. My lawyer sent back a video file. It was the security footage from the kitchen showing Chad throwing the plate, and the footage from the garden room showing Beatrice smashing the vase. We also included a recording of Beatrice screaming at me on the altar. We told them if they pursued the lawsuit, we would release the footage to social media. They dropped the lawsuit the next day. I did send them the bill. They couldn't pay the full $50,000, obviously. Beatrice had to sell her car and downsize to a condo to pay off the damages in the settlement we agreed upon. As for Maya and me, we got married a year later. We didn't do it at the Gilded Oak. Too much drama associated with that place now. We got married on a beach in Hawaii, just the two of us and a few friends. But every now and then, when I'm working in the garden at the venue, pruning the roses in my dirty work clothes, I see a fancy car pull up. I see people get out and look at me with that same sneer Beatrice had. They wonder why the gardener looks so confident. They have no idea. And honestly, I like it that way.